What is good? What is up? It's Jordan, your Texans Thoughts, and I'm back with another video. Today, I'm going to be breaking down Jaleel Johnson and Demarcus Walker. This is episode 2 of my competition casserole series where I give some insight into two players at the same position who are, going to be competing. And I think Jaleel and Demarcus are two interesting players to talk about because there's a big misconception with both of their positions. So I'm going to try to break that down for y'all today, and if you're interested in that, hit the like button, subscribe, comment down below your thoughts on the two players, and we'll get into it. Alright, let's break down the film of Jaleel Johnson and Demarcus Walker because the film don't lie. Starting off with Jaleel, and a lot of people think of him as a potential starter at the one-tech defensive tackle position. I think he could be a starter, but playing him at one tech would actually probably be the worst place to play him as it magnifies his weaknesses. First, let's talk about the differences between the two defensive tackle positions in our scheme, why they're different and why it's important to differentiate them in the first place. In a standard 4-3 defense, there is a one tech defensive tackle and there's a 3-tech defensive tackle. The one tech aligns on the outside shoulder of the center and in between the center and the guard. Their job is mainly as a run stuffer. They're usually north of 320 pounds and are just trying to eat space and most importantly take on double teams. Jaleel played here occasionally for the Vikings, but he doesn't have the necessary size, bulk, and power to really anchor a run defense and hold his ground versus double teams. He gets too easily turned to the side, and when you're not square to the line of scrimmage, it's harder for you to win the point of attack and you can be easily put into the ground. He's not the DJ Reader type of defensive tackle, and his struggles versus double teams are even seen when he plays 3-tech. But at least at that position, he'll have to deal with double teams far less often. So at 3-tech, the simple alignment differences allow him to take on more one-on-one blocks rather than double teams. While a 1-tech aligns in between the center and guard, the 3-tech aligns between the guard and tackle, a little bit wider away from the center. Less double teams are seen at this position because, traditionally the center is the one who works double teams most often, and so they'll double the defensive tackle that they're closer to. It just makes more sense, it's easier that way. Plus, tackles won't always be able to double this 3-tech defensive tackle because they will usually have a defensive end on their side to worry about. If you want even more of an explanation about the 3-tech defensive tackle position, definitely check out my video about Malik Collins. I think Collins and Jaleel are actually, a perfect yin and yang together because Collins will handle the pass rushing duties at 3-tech and Johnson can handle the run stuffing duties at 3-tech. As for Jaleel, he's able to defend the run from this 3-tech position well because of his long arms and good technique. He had a great matchup versus Quentin Nelson of the Colts, and had multiple wins on the day that helped limit Jonathan Taylor to 3.9 yards per carry, albeit he still did put up 100 yards on the day, but it was a far less efficient day than his 5 yards per carry average throughout the entire season. On this outside zone run, Jaleel shows very sound technique to blow Nelson backwards a bit, forcing Taylor to widen his run path and allowing his teammates those extra split seconds to rally to the ball. Look at how he fires off the ball with low pad level. The low man wins. And as he gets his hands into Nelson's chest, he can bench press him, stand Nelson up, and push him back 2 yards. That's very tough to do, man. And he's not always going to make the tackle himself, but he does his job and gives his teammates a better chance to make a play. Again, we see good disciplined play out of Jaleel, which helps to slow down what should have been a huge run for the Colts. We've got outside zone again, and look at how the motion from the play side wide receiver gets linebacker Eric Kendricks caught in no man's land. This gives the Colts the main advantage, getting a hat on a hat, and theoretically, the running back only needs to outrun the backside defensive end. This should be a big game, but the defensive tackles come up huge. Looking at this play pre-snap, the defensive tackles controlling the A-gaps is massive. Pairing Jaleel with the 1-tech who can handle the play side allows Jaleel to play fast on the backside and control his gap. You can see Taylor wants to cut it back, but Jaleel has kept Nelson at the line of scrimmage and gained leverage on him. So there's no cutback lane whatsoever, and it turns into just a 1-yard gain. With Jaleel, I think you're getting a solid, average starter run stuffing defensive tackle if he's allowed to play 3 tech and focus on beating one-on-one blocks. Now where Jaleel is held back a bit is in terms of consistently rushing the quarterback. He's more of a power rusher and he can collapse the pocket like that, but with just 5.5 sacks in 4 seasons, I'm not really counting on him to bring the heat. But that is okay because that's what Malik Collins is for, and same with Demarcus Walker. Since he's been listed as a defensive end all his career, Walker's true role and position has been extremely misleading. See, the Broncos have played a 3-4 defense all of Walker's career, and a defensive end in a 3-4 is very different from a defensive end in the 4-3 that we'll be running. So instead of playing from the edge, Walker has actually been used more like a 4-3 defensive tackle, primarily as a sub-package interior pass rusher. He's had 8.5 sacks and 40 pressures in his past 2 seasons while playing just 21 and 35% of the snaps. So there's some good stuff to look at here for sure. Breaking down his 4.5 sacks in the 2020 season shows us how he should be used on the Texans to get the best results. Walker is a high energy and high motor guy who is always trying to get off his block and get to the quarterback. Here he reads the play action, then once he sees Teddy drop back, he uses a rip move to get the tackle off of him. Walker will align from the 3 tech position a good amount, here just getting lower than the guard to win the leverage battle and swiping away the ball before his teammates rally for the coverage sack. That energy is something Walker will always bring, but the Texans can put him in a position to succeed by asking him to run stunts. That's where 3 of his sacks came in 2020, and he's much better in this role than Malik Collins is. So when the Texans just want to rush 4 guys and scheme up one-on-one for their 3 tech defensive tackle, let Collins play that role. He's more athletic and technically refined than Walker. But if you want to scheme up some stunts or loops, let Walker play that role as he brings the power and motor necessary for success. Walker can align at nose tackle on these stunts, and here's a well-executed end tackle stunt, where the defensive end rushes first and crashes inside, taking on the center and guard so that Walker can have a one-on-one with the tackle, which he promptly wins with a nicely timed shot. Last sack here, and I hope Lovie Smith can get creative like this to generate a good pass rush while just sending 4 guys. Here Walker is at nose tackle running another stunt, and it works really well because there were only 2 offensive linemen, the guard and the center, dealing with the 2 defensive linemen, compared to the 3 we saw on the play before. And that's because this simulated pressure drags the center away from the stunt. The protection gets slid to the right, and so now the Broncos have a 2-on-2, which is much easier to manipulate and scheme up an open rusher than a 2-on-3, for example. I like how patient Walker is here on the stunt. He doesn't immediately rush to the outside because his teammate isn't ready to crash inside and take out this guard just yet. Instead, once he engages with the guard, he looks to his right, and he doesn't go to the outside until he reads that his defensive end is rushing inside. Because he waits that extra split second and has good cohesion and chemistry with his teammate, the tackle doesn't even lay a finger on Walker and he gets the unblocked sack. So if Walker is utilized like he was in Denver, like a sub-package interior rusher mainly on stunts, I can see him having another season with around 3 to 4 sacks. But if you play him as a 4-3 defensive end or on rundowns often, he's going to look like a bit of a liability. This is why I love breaking down the film, because you learn things that simple box scores, Google searches, or press conferences, they just won't show you. Jaleel Johnson is a run-stuffing 3 tech, not a 1 tech. Demarcus Walker is a sub-package interior rusher, not a defensive end. If the Texans coaching staff understands that, and they don't force these players into their own schematic archetypes, they can both be beneficial additions that help improve our defense. Come on, Lovie, man. I really want to believe in you. Alright, that's going to do it for the video. If you enjoyed, please do hit that like button, subscribe for more content, and comment down below your thoughts on the video. Take care, everyone. Come back for more, and remember, the film don't lie.